Now, let's start with the third unit, Inflation Accounting and Income in Measurement from the Advanced Managerial Accounting syllabus of MCOM. Now, we are going to deal with income measurement. What exactly are the various concepts of income for financial reporting and how do we analyze the changes in these income is the basic summary of this particular unit. First, let us go through the various concepts which we have in income. Income concepts, we have 6 different concepts of income. Accounting concept of income, economic concept of income, capital maintenance concept of income, business income, operating income, and comprehensive income. Accounting income. Accounting income is the excess of realized revenues over the expired cost of an accounting period. That is nothing else but difference between the realized revenues and the historical cost. Let me tell you, as you all are commerce students, you would be knowing your income which is being earned in your P&L account. What is that? That's the accounting income. Whatever are the realized revenues minus the historical cost. Or you say expired cost. Expired cost means what? All the expenses which are being paid, you're deducting. From what? The revenues which are realized. What is that? The incomes which are earned by us. Realized revenues. From your sales, you minus all the purchases and trading expenses, you get gross profit. From that, you minus all the office expenses and the selling and distribution expenses, financial expenses, all these which are there are basically the historical cost. So from your realized revenues, it means revenues which are already realized by you from the sales amount, from the other incomes which are received. When you minus the historical cost, what you get is basically accounting income. How do you do the calculation of this? As you all know, first you have to define the accounting period, that is the year in which you are going to calculate the accounting income. Second, identify the revenue of the accounting period which is selected. Identifying revenue of the accounting period selected means you are trying to find out which are the total sales amounts and the other incomes from which you have to minus cost. Next, identify the cost related to the realized revenues. You will deduct the cost, the expenses which are related to that particular year. That is, let that be trading expenses, let that be your office expenses, selling and distribution expenses. These are called costs related to realized revenues of that particular period. And you have to identify the unexpired cost. Unexpired cost means prepaid expenses. Why are you talking about prepaid? Because what is not related to the current year is not supposed to be taken. So what do you do with these things? You are going to minus them. So accounting concept basically, it has certain merits and demerits. It's reliable in nature. Why? You are taking only those which have certain objective evidence. They are comparable between two different companies. Comparability because every organization would have the same concept, every organization would have the same format which is being fixed, and the cost is least because you have the formats being fixed for everyone, and the company which is there is basically trying to just repeat the same procedures once they start a particular format. What are the demerits? Inflation is not taken into consideration. Why? We all know. Where do we take inflation in our P&L or in balance sheet which is there? We are not taking in P&L any inflationary values. You're only taking the values which are actually being paid. Flexibility and subjectivity. Now here one problem which we have is there are different methods. When I say different methods, I mean that you have the example. Depreciation has two methods. I can either do it in your written down value method or the straight line method which is there. So here what happens? One company to other company when we are comparing, there are certain difficulties. That's therefore called as flexibility and subjectivity. Then time period of allocation of cost incurred at different points of time, but expenses are recorded at current prices. Example, imagine that at the time of demonetization, when it happened, it took place in that particular year, somewhere in November. Just imagine those, expenses which were being incurred in the month of April were entirely different from any other expenditure which was being incurred after November, December. We all know that. So, what's happening? The cost is incurred at a different point of time, but expenses are always recorded at current prices. It means in that particular year when accounts were being made, expenses were to be recorded at the price which was there at the end of March. They were not bothered what happened before demonetization, what happened after demonetization. That is not taken into consideration. Impossible to replace the assets at inflation. Though we calculate depreciation, but the amount of depreciation for a period of 10 years will not be sufficient enough at the 10th year to purchase a fresh asset. So it's never possible to replace an asset at the time of inflation. Now let's go to the second concept of income. Economic concept of income. What exactly is this economic concept of income? Economic concept of income is based on the Hicks concept of income, which is being defined as follows. He says the maximum value which he can consume during a week and still expect to be as well off at the end of the week as he was at the beginning. What does that mean? It means that the well-offness which is there is not supposed to change. According to Hick, he says income is the maximum which can be consumed by a person in a defined period without impairing his well-offness as it existed at the beginning of the period. What is well-offness? Well-offness is equivalent to wealth or capital. That is, Hick's concept of personal income was subsequently adopted by Alexander and subsequently revised by Solomon also. I would give it in the form of a formula. What exactly is this? Economic income is can be simply taken as the total consumption which is there plus the changes in your capital. What do I mean by that? Economic income, he says that it follows a balance sheet approach. Balance sheet approach means what? Balance sheet approach means what exactly is the value of the capital at the end minus the value of the capital at the beginning. You deduct it. Then you find out how much exactly you could increase your capital. That he says is your economic income. So under the balance sheet approach, income here is determined as in capital at the end minus capital at the beginning of the year. So this is being applied in calculation of your economic income. Thus, economic income of the business is the amount by which its net worth has increased because you're finding out the difference in the capital. Capital at the end minus capital at the beginning. What do you mean by that? Nothing else but what exactly is the change which you had in the net worth which is there. That is taken as your economic income. So here, when you're talking about economic income, unlike your accounting income, doesn't take into consideration your unexpired cost or doesn't talk about the realized revenues. No, it's not bothered about that. It says what is the net worth I have at the end of the year in comparison to the net worth I had at the beginning of the year. This is basically called as the economic income. So let us take one small example which is there. Now when you're talking about economic income, keep in mind that you're also taking the net present value of this particular capital. Assume the following expected net cash flow from total assets of a firm whose useful remaining life is 4 years. Assume annual depreciation of 7,000 and a discount rate of 5%. Using the discount rate, the present value of the beginning of the year 1 would be 32,887 computed using the present value table. You just see. Now, let us imagine you have capital values. Capital values are 7,000, 8,000, 500, 10,000, 12,000. These are the capital values which are there. Now, what you're doing, capital values at the beginning. You would take what is the value which is there at the beginning of the year. So 7,000, what is the present value? PV factor you are multiplying, finding out what is the capitalized value. Same thing. When you're talking about the second year, you are taking again 8,500 into 9.9070. Similarly, you're doing for the 4 different informations which are being given for 4 years. Capitalized value at the end of year 1. Now what would happen? At the beginning, you're talking about 4 different amounts. At the end of the year, now you would have only 8,500, 10,000 and 12,000. So you're finding out what is the capitalized value at the end of the year. So how much did I invest in the beginning of the year? 7,000. What is the value at the end of the year? 27,531. How did I get 27,531? You're multiplying the present value factor which is there to the amounts which are being invested. So we have totally 34,531. What is the value at the beginning of the year? The present value at the beginning of year? 32,887. The difference between these two is basically called as economic income. So when you're talking about economic income doesn't talk about, it doesn't talk about your profit and loss approach which is there, or it doesn't talk about the approach from a viewpoint of a transaction which has taken place, but it talks from a balance sheet viewpoint which is there. So it would say balance sheet means what is the capital at the end, after multiplying the outflows which are there with the net present value factors. What is the capital value at the beginning? From the capital value of the end minus the capital value of the beginning, you are going to get the economic income. Now, what are the merits of economic income? Economic income merits are, it is useful for long-term decision like capital budgeting. If you all remember that you all have done the NPV, that's the economic income which is there. It is considered as ideal attribute of assets and liabilities instead of historical cost. When you're talking about demerits, wellness cannot be defined accurately during all the periods and it may not be constant. Now, when I say wellness, I can't really exactly calculate how much well off I am at the end of the year. There are various methods, again second demerit which is there is, various methods are there in valuation of assets. Market value method is there, historical cost minus liabilities, present value of future inflows. All these are the methods. All these are the different methods which are there. It becomes very difficult to choose between the different methods. Discounting factor reflects time value of money. If there is, if the calculation goes wrong, then your whole economic income goes wrong. And it's impracticable in financial accounting because tax authorities nor companies act accept this type of income calculation.